We can give everybody 1 minute.
And it is admitting.
Awesome. Welcome in. Let's share the right screen here. There we go. Welcome in, everyone.
Yeah, welcome.
We're going to give everybody just a few extra seconds. We have a lot of people popping in that we're admitting right now. So just going to let that die down for 1 second before we get started. Awesome. All right, Jerry, I think we are ready.
All right, welcome everybody. We're super excited to present this topic to you all today. We're going to be obviously talking about Microsoft Copilot and how it directly relates to your small business and how you can use that to make yourself more effective and efficient in everyone's organization.
Yeah.
So of course, I'm Jerry Sheehan, CEO of SynchroNet. With me, I have Tanner Sanderson, our VP, and Bree Carnavelli, our marketing director extraordinaire, as I always call her. She's responsible for all the flashy stuff you see here today. Super talented.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Can't hide the truth. So we're going to keep this a really tight webinar today, filled with a lot of facts. It's going to really show you guys how to get started here. But for the next 45 minutes, we're going to show you specifically how you can use Microsoft Copilot in your businesses, putting them together with your businesses with business intelligence on how it relates to the applications that everybody has to love over the last 30 years of Microsoft's products, like Word, Excel, Teams, SharePoint, and the data that resides within. All right, so what exactly is Copilot? Of course, it's AI. In the words Copilot, you are the pilot as the user. So it is your helper, is your assistant. So what it essentially does is it's going to integrate like with all your applications, your Microsoft Word, your Teams, your chat messages, your Outlook, your calendar, your SharePoint sites, the data that's contained within. So once it does all that, it starts to understand how you work and it understands your work habits. And then with that, it begins to start to help you a little bit further. But a point of note is security. It is your data. So this sits within your Microsoft ecosystem. Microsoft does not take your security for granted. They are not going to use your information to feed their model or anything along those lines. They're not sharing it with anybody. But with that being said, everybody, make sure that your employees have signed a AI acceptable use policy. That's super critical. Your employees are using AI, whether you know it or not, and you need to have some protections for your organization. We have some templates that we can share with you guys. We'll pass it along at the end.
Thanks for the intro, Jerry. So more on what is Copilot. So on the screen, you guys will see a little bit of everything that Copilot can do for you. So it can be an analyst, a researcher, but again, on the screen, there's a bunch of different simple tasks that it can help you with. But think of Copilot kind of like an umbrella for AI. So AI meaning Microsoft 365. Copilot is not quite like ChatGPT in the way that it doesn't have like the same personality or creativity. It's not going to tell you after you ask it an idea, hey, that's a great idea. Nobody else thinks like you, like ChatGPT can do sometimes, and is really funny. But it's kind of like ChatGPT's professional cousin, if that makes sense. So it's based on the restraints and the compliances of how you have Microsoft 365 set up. So again, from the security level, if you have your permissions set up correctly, it's going to stay compliant based on what you guys ask it to do. So Copilot, essentially, it's for your business applications, and it's to help you guys be, it's just to make you more functional, essentially. But look at the screen real quick. That'll give you a good idea of everything it can do for you.
Yeah, I think what you said is really important, Tanner. I still use ChatGPT. I learned a lot about Copilot over the last year or so. I still use ChatGPT for some things. I'm sure a lot of people have noticed lately that ChatGPT is it's got a lot of competition right now. It was, the thing to use in the beginning, and now these other platforms and whatnot are coming up and starting to kind of take over in that space a little bit. But all of these things, they have their own niches in them. And for Copilot, it is, it is like that corporate compliance. They're taking the security in with factoring that in as well. So we'll get a little bit more into that, but yes, it is very much more that corporate focus than some of the other AI models out there.
Yeah, it's straight up business intelligence. It's using your data to provide the intelligence back to you and things that you in ways that you never would have thought of. Mm-hmm. And it analyzes the way you do, what it can see, your applications, what's in your chat, your emails, and then it provides you directions or answers or shortcuts. And it's 60-40, 60% accurate, 40% not. So you got to, again, put your spin on it because it's your co-pilot. You're the pilot.
Right.
So quickly, how to access Microsoft 365 Copilot. The one we're talking about that's on the screen right now, this is solely talking about the chat option of Copilot. So anybody that would have a basic like Microsoft 365 account would have access to the free version, the chat version of Copilot. So that's what we're talking about right now. Later on, we'll get into, the different options that you have for Copilot, and Bree will walk us through that as well. But pretty simple. You guys will get very, very familiar with the logo, the Copilot logo, because it's on everything now. Mm-hmm. So after today, I'm sure you'll be familiar with that if you are not already. And you can also access the Copilot in the Microsoft 365 app or at Microsoft365.com/Copilot. So super, super easy to navigate.
Yes. And they have buttons everywhere now, right? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes. Even on the new laptops, I've got a nifty new button. I was just thinking to myself earlier, I wonder what that button used to be now that it's Copilot. I don't know if it still has what its original function was, but they made space for a specific Copilot button that'll pop it up for you. So when you have, like Turner said, when you have a Microsoft 365 license, you will automatically have access to the free Copilot Chat option. And then if you do decide to get a Copilot license, that same link here will give you that same access. You can access it via the web or natively on your computer within the app as well. So
the main difference between those two applications, everybody, is one is it's just you're chatting back and forth with maybe business topics versus the full-blown license is going to have that integrated feel inside of all your applications, your SharePoints, your Teams, your Word, your Excel, your Outlook, all that sort of stuff. So the outside you have your chat and then you have your full-blown. That's the major difference. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, guys. Security is number one, and it's number one for us here at SynchroNet, and it's also number one for any of our clients. We know that. But with that being said, if you feel like your security is maybe not as tight as it should be, so an example, if user A maybe has more access to the system than you want them to, that's the number one area you have to start. Because once we'll call it unleash Copilot on your environment for a specific user, if the user has access to things that they shouldn't have, Copilot's going to provide that information back because it's going to think that it's supposed to have that information, and it's going to provide it back to them. So it's going to use that existing security, and that's the framework that it's going to provide as it kind of rolls through. So with that being said, too, Microsoft's not going to use your data to build their models. They're not going to share it with other people. It's within your ecosystem. We don't even see the information. It stays within your business. And again, AI in your workplace, make sure you have your people sign an AI acceptable use policy so they have a little bit of accountability on what and how they're using AI in your environments. Because again, it's 60-40. It's not going to do their jobs for them. They need to put that 40% spin on it of their own.
Right. And so now we wanted to, Copilot can do so many things, just like a lot of the other AI companies out there. But with Copilot specifically, we just wanted to show you guys a few different ways that you can utilize Copilot, what Copilot looks like, in your day-to-day workflow or what it could look like. And I do want to say, I'm sure, we've got a lot of people on this call, a lot of familiar names. I know some of you, we've already talked and you guys use AI in your day-to-day. And then I know some of you probably are hopping on and you maybe haven't used any form of ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini or enter name there. There's a million of them now. So I just wanted to let you know that we're trying to do a high-level view so you can get an idea of what Copilot does, what makes it a little bit different than the others right now. And I just don't want you to feel intimidated if you're on that beginner side. We do have resources we'll talk about later, but I just know that we have people on both sides of the spectrum. Some of you guys will be like, oh yeah, I've experienced some of this, and then I know some of you are going to be on kind of that other end, and I just don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed. We are definitely here to help you if this is an avenue that you decide to go. But having said that,
one size fits all webinar, right?
Yeah, right. So with Copilot and their Copilot Chat, just like Tanner mentioned, the same concept. They're using large language models. It's just a different mindset. So you will notice when using Copilot that the responses are a little bit slower, but it is also, there's various reasons, but one of the reasons is it is going through that security framework that you have set up. It's going through, your SharePoint or whatever you have on there. It's going through that. It's collecting data from that. So the response times are a lot slower than what you might see using, Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT. So I just want that to be aware. Even for the sake of this webinar, I did have to pre-run the prompts because I didn't want to make you guys sit here and wait on some of them that do take some time. But I'll still show you the process.
Yeah. So to Bree's point, it's analyzing your data. So if you're the CEO of the company and you have access to every folder on the shares up in SharePoint and you have email from a billion years, it's going to go through all that stuff to give you an accurate business analytic answer. So the more you have, the longer it's going to take. And I would rather wait for the right answer than have a quick answer and be wrong. I mean, most people would be that way. And I like correct answers.
We're going to put a little asterisk by where you said accurate there, Jerry, but we'll touch on why. We'll touch why on a second.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's right here. So with Copilot Chat, the reason why I would put that asterisk there is because so much of what you get out of these platforms is what you put into it. So it's a lot about prompting. And I know in our previous webinars, we talked about the importance of prompting. We do have an ebook that we put together that has some guidelines for how to prompt AI chats and whatnot. But Copilot is no different than those. It's very important that you are as descriptive as you can be. Because like just as Jerry's example, the CEO or owner of a company is going to have access to everything. So if you say, pull up every Word document that I edited in 2025, but you're actually looking for maybe a specific, your marketing files or something like that. Just the more specifics you can give it, the better output you're going to get from it.
And that goes with any sort of AI tool you're going to use. The more information you give it out of the gate, very specifically, I'm looking for X, I'm looking for Y, I'm looking at the date range, I'm looking for this type of material, whatever it is, that first prompt is the most critical for you to get the answer that you're looking for. That way it's not guessing, and it is a little bit better than 60% is your goal.
Yes. And I know with how much people are talking about AI now and how they're using it to, get all this time back and all that, which is great, but it's just important to remember that you still need to verify all the information that it's pulling for you. Like, especially if it's something very important, or if it's an email you're about to send out, I would still double check your facts, cross-read it really quick, make sure that it is the right information you want to pull. Because as fast as some of these things can get pulled for you, it's important to know that what you're wanting to pull up is what you're wanting to share, sort of thing. But just wanted to touch on that. I know we talk about it a little bit, but it is really important learning how to prompt these chats so that you get the best output for what you're looking for.
Yeah, and we have a great download for you guys. You can request it at the end. We'll show you how to do accurate prompting and just some tips and tricks for y'all to navigate this.
For sure. Another feature in Copilot are their built-in agents. If some of you are familiar with ChatGPT, they have custom GPTs that you can build. Copilot has the same kind of idea with their Copilot Studio. And then they also have these pre-built agents that come with Copilot. And essentially what they are, it's as if you took that same chat window that you would do any of your normal chats with, but they put more framework around it, so it's only focusing on a specific task or area. So for instance, workflows, that's going to help you build out a workflow within Copilot. If you want it to help you build a workflow to replying to emails in Outlook, it's going to help give you that step-by-step. It's not going to put any of that fluff into it. It's probably not pulling from web, which we'll get into that in a minute. It's just a more tailored chat window to work through versus just the normal one that you would pop up using Copilot. Same thing with Analyst. That's going to go down into your data, your spreadsheets. It's going to help analyze the information that you give it. And then same thing with Researcher. It's going to
each of those things, guys, you're essentially building a framework for chat to behave or Copilot to behave within that framework. So you're giving it the confines of the rules, what you're looking for, what you're expecting out of it, the output, and how you want it delivered. So you can tell it everything between tone and facts and everything else. And again, the more you give it, the better accuracy it's going to be, and the happier you'll be with the result.
Right. And they come with tons of pre-built ones. These are just some of my favorites. I'm going to show you one or two of these today. Prompt Coach is another good one. I like throwing that on here because, like I said, the importance of prompting. Well, now you can ask, AI to give you a prompt for itself. So you can ask Copilot to help you write a prompt for Copilot and then copy and paste that wherever you need it. So it's great that they already have that built in, and it knows exactly what to tell itself, how to do it.
You have a Copilot for your Copilot.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, all right. Love it.
So I want to hop in and just kind of show you guys Copilot through web here. So when you first go in, looks like there we go. Okay, so you'll notice up here at the top here, we have our...
Just to interject real quick, for anybody that sees Bree's screen right now that might want to be a little bit bigger, on the very bottom left side of the screen, there's a plus arrow, there's like a plus sign, and you guys can enlarge it on your own. So individually, Bree does not need to make it bigger on her screen. You guys can actually make it bigger on yours just to help out.
Thanks,
all right, Bree, sorry.
Awesome. No, perfect. Thank you. So this is what, if you were to just go to Copilot through their web address, this is similarly what it would look like. I do have a license, so it may look a little bit different if you're just using the free version. There is a work tab, and what that's going to do is pull more from like your Outlook, your Teams, your SharePoint sites. You can kind of guide it what to pull and how to pull it through there versus just your standard more web chat. This is where you would ask, oh, perfect. They got little examples for me here. You can ask for top headlines, like just more of your basic searching or helping you summarize a quick document. You can add the document here, just more of like a standard chat tool here. I do always like to talk about settings when we go over these AI tools over here. First, I'm going to highlight this check mark. This is a great way to learn more about their enterprise data protection. If you want to read up some more about it, once you have a license, you should see this green shield letting you know that you are not, feeding any of their models. You're only feeding your internal model to help better chat within your environment. But we're going to go over here to settings really quick just because I want to show you. You will have fewer setting options, I've noticed, in Copilot, but that's mainly because it's using your built-in security that you already have. But I like dropping down here into personalization. With so many people using AI to write things now, it can feel a bit redundant. I'm sure some of you...
And robotic, right?
Yeah.
AI feels sometimes a little AI.
Shocker. But I feel like, I'm sure some of you feel that you can read things now and you're like, oh, I can tell, ChatGPT wrote that. So I like to try to work with the personalization. Is it going to be perfect? No, but I like to at least try to help the situation. But in Copilot, you would come down here to personalization. I like to go into custom instructions, and I did ask Copilot to go through, because I have the license, I asked it to go through my Outlook and learn how I reply to emails. And so it went through, it read, it gave me feedback on my communication skills. And I asked Copilot, I said, thank you so much for letting me know that. And I asked it to write a prompt for me to put into the instruction section here. So it wrote this for me, telling itself to write in my voice, and it's telling itself what my tone is like, and the kind of language I use. It picked up on the structure that I usually use in my emails. I typically say hey or hi before I write the person's name. It even picked up on my name does not include E's in it, but it's a long story. I use 2 E's in my nickname for Bree, and I mainly go by Bree. But my Microsoft license, all of my work things, they have Brianna, my full name. But it even picked up that I always sign my emails Bree. So I even thought that was really neat that it picked up on that, because I even forget. I realize sometimes when I'm writing and maybe I haven't introduced myself as Bree yet, these people are probably like, why is she spelling her name that way? But
so if you put this stuff like this, Bree, does that mean if you're having a bad day and you want to write a stern email, it's going to help you like curve it into something maybe a little nicer before you send that email?
Yeah. With that prompt though, I would say it's all about the prompting. I would say, look, Copilot, I'm having a really bad day, and this is what I want to say, but I need you to zhuzh it up a little bit. But yes, so I was impressed with what it picked up by what it was able to search through. So now when I have it, I did this specifically for writing emails. So when I ask it to help me reply to an email, it's going to just pick up on more of, the tone that I use in emails and things like that. And they also give you these little buttons down here you can add on. I think some of them are pretty. I feel like most people would want, honest feedback. We don't need ChatGPT lying to us, I'm sorry, Copilot. Prioritizing your manager, very important. I always prioritize you, Jerry. That button
I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, I guess maybe I just clicked it now. I could have swore it was on there. Darn. But no, these are great buttons. This is a great one to take off as well, or you can add a button saying do not use emojis. I do not like using all the emojis that some of these platforms use. I noticed Copilot doesn't use nearly as many as ChatGPT does, but this is a great place to kind of go in and customize how it talks to you, even if you're not using it for any client-facing writing. If you're just wanting to train how it talks to you, maybe it's a little too peppy and you need it to calm down a little bit. This is where you can come to really tailor it more to something that speaks to you and makes it easier.
Give it some reasonable framework, right?
Yes.
There you go.
So I always like to touch on that just to show you guys where I know AI can be frustrating with, how it reacts. So I just like to show you guys where you can try to personalize it to kind of just help you out a little bit there. Yeah, I want to hop back over here to the tab over here. So over here are the agents that we mentioned earlier. So we have researcher, analyst, workflows. These are just ones that I've recently used. They're some of the pre-baked ones. The one I find myself using the most, other than workflows, which could be an entire probably webinar series in itself with all the different things you can do with that, I use Researcher a lot. And what I like about Researcher, as you can see, it's the same sort of idea. It's a chat window. But here you can select the sources that you would like it to pull from. So for example, if I want to ask, what I like to use this for is I'll say, catch me up on Tanner Sanderson and what I missed from last week, any to-dos, etc.
I can't imagine what this is going to say, but go ahead.
Right. It's going to say, Bree is all caught up. She's done everything. She's perfect. So you would type in a prompt like this, right? So I want to know anything from last week. If there was any to-dos I missed, I could keep writing this prompt out. But we're going to say, okay, I don't need it to search the web because that's irrelevant. We want it to search work files. So we're going to stay on the work side. What Tanner and I talk about, a lot of it isn't really on our SharePoint. If I was going into like more of a project base that we talked about, I would maybe leave that on, but for this case, I would take it off. I do want it to look at our emails so it can breeze through and see if I missed anything there. I would like it to stay and look at our meetings, our Teams chats, and then we can turn off Power BI down here. And then you would just click the prompt. Now, just a reminder, I did not type in a full prompt here, but because it takes a while, I did previously, so we could just take a look at what it looks like, but you would just click enter here and it's going to run through. And like I said, it is going to take a couple minutes, and because I didn't do a full prompt, it's going to be like, what are you talking about? You didn't give me enough information. But
yeah, that's the framework that we're saying for you guys to build. Yeah,
yes.
just
so I will show
specifics,
you
maybe last week between Monday and Wednesday, and just think about how you can tighten it up.
Yes. While this is popped up here, I don't know if you guys are able to see pop-ups on my screen. You guys will have to let me know. There is a little pop-up over here on the left saying Copilot has new activity. I do also like this about Copilot. A lot of times, because the prompting takes, or the responses take a while, I will throw my prompt in and then I'll go leave and I'll start working on emails. What I noticed, because I'm still in the web browser, it gave me a pop-up there, but earlier I was working in emails, and when the prompt finished, I actually got a little notification on the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. I was in Outlook, and the notification was letting me know that Copilot was done running that prompt for me. So that was nice, because it was a good reminder for me to go back and look at that output that it gave me. So that is a nice feature that I've noticed within Copilot. So this is the actual prompt that I ran earlier. So please get me up to date with Tanner Sanderson, any tasks of me, any unanswered questions I may have left. It did ask me for a little bit more information. I said I just wanted a nice little short response, and I told it to use its best judgment for prioritization based on what it asked me to do. And then it created a full summary and follow-up. And as you can see, I did all my work and I have nothing to catch up on other than these few three things. There was a Teams chat. It found that he wanted an update on something. We did talk about this, so but it pulled a Teams chat. It showed, oh, on my calendar, we have this lovely Copilot workshop that I had to make sure we're ready for. And then it found a lower priority of a change in our CRM that he wanted, which was a great reminder because this did fall off my radar. So I'm glad that it was able to find that and put it in a table for me to quickly look at. And it also gave me some other notes and whatnot. But this is a great way to just kind of, you could do that. It doesn't have to be with someone within your organization either. If you have, a client that you email with all the time, you could ask it the same thing, and you could just put that person's name in, Bob Smith, and it's going to go through and pull all of your emails. Now, if you have a lot of Bob Smiths you work out, you just got to be careful. But framework. Yes. Bob Smith from this company or this email address, but it'll do the same thing. Yeah.
To Bree's point, so if it's outside your organization, you're like, where do I communicate most with Bob? Well, it's only my email and my calendar. So then you just select down those couple things, and you're going to get a quicker result on a Copilot rather than search all these things you may not necessarily need to see.
Correct.
Just searching for Bob's name and going through 40 emails.
All the Bobs, yes.
I kind of think you might have deleted some stuff off of Tanner's Matrix. I mean, there had to be lunch in there a couple of times.
There was a cute line about like, casual banter about workplace or something like that. The way it said it was pretty funny. I think we were talking about like a meeting or something. But this was another quick example I wanted to show you. Again, I can share this exact prompt. This is one that Copilot built for itself based on what I was asking it to do. It gave it a fancy name, very corporate, weekly operational intelligence report. But essentially what I was able to do here is ask Copilot to run a prompt every Monday at 7 a.m. Of basically my to-dos for the week, look at everything, tell me what's going on. So it wrote itself this, so I know this looks kind of crazy and might be a little confusing, but this is a prompt that Copilot gave itself based on what I asked it to do. So I fed it into Copilot, and it now knows what knows what I want the report to look like, and it ran it for me. It did warn me that it's going to be long because I have a couple unread emails there. It asked me some feedback questions, but essentially what it got down to is it went through my emails. It said, hey, these are really important. We need to make sure you saw these. Now, again, it's picking what it's prioritizing, so you will have to tweak it every now and then. But it knows that we just brought on a marketing intern who just started with us today who's watching. So shout out to Dalton, but it reminded me to coordinate his onboarding. It reminded me that we have a donation basket that we need to put together, our AI events that we're having. It reminded me to make sure I had the company vehicle ready. So it's just a really great tool. And what's nice is this will now be emailed. Well, I'll get an email every Monday at 7 a.m. saying that the prompt is ran. So when I go to Outlook, I'll click the link or click the link in the email, and it'll pull this up for me every Monday at 7 a.m., which has been a great feature that I've been using a lot. So I know there's a lot of talking, but I just wanted to kind of give you a little high-level view on the chat side of how you guys can use Copilot.
Yeah, it sounds like that alone can make your Monday slide in a little easier when you get into work. Knock the rust off a little quicker.
Yes, exactly. Especially those little things that can slip your mind, or all the notes that you have all over your desk. It kind of somehow it magically knew which ones I needed to hear the most. Probably with using the platform quite a bit and it learning where I kind of slide a couple times. But now I'm going to hand it over to Tanner just to highlight a little bit about how Copilot can be used in different areas of business.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we wanted to talk specifically, we want to pick one department, but we wanted to talk about how small businesses are using Copilot to work smarter. Take away a lot of the mundane tasks, essentially. And what we did is we picked operations because, hey, operations is a backbone of most of the organizations we talk to and I know over here. So, but operations teams are using Excel and Word and calendars and Teams messages. They're using all this stuff where Copilot really comes in and it can help. So takes away a lot of those repetitive tasks and helps with productivity. 3 options here that we highlighted for you guys that it really helps with operations: smart onboarding, documentation organization, and workflow creation. So it can go through, it can, for the onboarding portion of it, it can schedule calendar invites, put together onboarding materials for organization. And like I said earlier, instead of Google or looking through your email for Bob, you can just ask this. You can say, hey, retrieve the information that I need, and it'll go through and it'll retrieve everything that you need versus, manually having to do it, combing through everything, trying to find that simple information you're looking for. And then, as Bree said, the workflow creation and the automation portion of it, absolutely limitless. Like she said, we could have a whole webinar just on that portion. But
yeah,
super cool.
For sure. Yeah. To plan that, I just wanted to show you guys what Copilot looks like within Microsoft apps. So what we just looked at was all done through Copilot Chat. Now you can also, I'm sure all of you that are heavy Microsoft users have seen the beautiful little colorful Copilot button that's popped up in all of their apps. I just wanted to give you an example of using it within the app and kind of what that looks like. And I can't remember if I already said this today or not, but I do feel it's important, even if you don't feel like Copilot might be the right fit for you right now. I still think it's important to kind of know a little bit about it, because we never know with Microsoft and how heavy they're going to start pushing Copilot into things. I mean, if they're making space on the keyboard for a special button for it, who knows what the plans are. And if you're a heavy user, I just would encourage you to get familiar with it, because we don't know how deep into Microsoft it's going to go. If they start, taking away some options up here, it doesn't want you clicking through, picking your heading. It wants you to tell it to make the heading. I just want you guys to be familiar, as not saying that's definitely going to happen, but you just never know with Microsoft or technology in general. So it's a good thing to just be aware of it, right?
Being familiar while it's early on, and when they remove the print button, you have to tell it you want to print rather than just like a print button.
You never know. It could. Yeah. Who knows what they could do? It's just been interesting watching how much they are pushing Copilot and the changes they're making in order to easily incorporate it. So it's just something to be aware of just in case. But in this example here, what I did, I asked lovely Copilot to make a fictitious company for me based out of Western New York. So hopefully there's no like Erie engineering groups in Western New York. If there is, this is not their data. This is completely random HR policy that Copilot threw together for me for the sake of this presentation. But it's a pretty standard HR policy that has to go out to clients. So say, maybe you have in-house HR, maybe you don't, maybe you use third party, and there's memos that they push out, and you're always the one that has to sit there and type out the emails telling everybody like, hey, this is the new memo, this is what needs to be done now. What you can do is just open that memo that was created. You can come over here in the top right hand side to that Copilot button. And again, I pre-prompted this just in case if it took too long, but I asked it to draft a rollout email for Outlook summarizing this policy so that we could send it to staff, and I told it what I wanted it to include. I did leave it a little open-ended, asking it to tell me why it matters and what employees must do this week. But again, that's something you can experiment with if you feel comfortable enough with the responses it's giving you to kind of give that kind of decision making, you can, or if you need to tailor it more, you can do so with the prompt. And it spit out the subject for me, the contents. I can go through and take a look at this. And then what's neat is you can actually ask it to make this into an actual email file for you that you can just click a link down here and it will open it in Outlook for you. So you don't have to do any heavy copy and pasting, or you'll see, I've seen some people, they go to copy and paste what ChatGPT wrote or anything, and they accidentally grab this little bit down here that's actually the chat prompting them for more questions. So you don't have to do that here. You can actually ask it to give you a .eml file, and when you open that, it'll open into your email or Outlook, whatever you use for your email.
Yeah, and sometimes, guys, it's about getting it close. So you give it the facts, you get it close, you get your 60-70% out of it, saving you all that initial formatting, and then you can just spend the last 30-40% on it, and that's exactly what you want, and it's your voice, and you send it out.
Yes. It is same sort of concept for both PowerPoint and for Excel. I will say I don't use PowerPoint a whole lot. I find myself using other slide deck creators to kind of do the designs and things that I want, but it's same sort of concept. It's got in-app. You can still do the same. Say I was writing a paper over here, I had to write this HR policy and I wanted to look something up. I could look that up here within the chat just by switching over to web. If I need it to reference another HR document that I have, in my folder.
Stored up on SharePoint in your HR folder.
Exactly.
As an HR person, you have access to the HR folder, right, Bree?
Yep, and I can ask it to, pinpoint something in there and throw it in here. It just gives you. It's nice to not have to leave this window to go do those things, and it kind of keeps it in there. So that's a nice perk of having the Copilot built into the app. I'm sure there's other pros and cons to it as well. Same thing with Excel. The big thing that I've really enjoyed using Excel with, we were going to show you a couple demos today, but it takes up so much time because there's so many things that Copilot can do. We can always expand more later, but I didn't want to take up too much of your time. But any of you guys out there that might struggle with Excel formulas and always having to Google what this formula is or why this formula is not working, there's Copilot in there, and it's been super helpful for me, just helping me find formulas or easy way to calculate data within spreadsheets that are already filled out.
Slice and dice your data. You can make pivot tables and all. If you do all that stuff that you would sit there and 5 years ago you want to poke your eyes out.
Oh yes, I've seen some really neat things done with Excel sheets, and asking Copilot to just basically take a workbook and create a separate tab with a dashboard that references all that work, and it created pie charts and bar graphs and all of that, and just made it very easy with the right prompt. But yeah, it's pretty powerful with what it can do, and it's kind of neat. I know it's a little bit annoying seeing it pop up everywhere, but I did enjoy being able to kind of flip back and forth. I'm not opening Google Chrome and then coming over here and opening a file and copying and pasting. I can have it pull up the file that I want to look at right here within Word. I can ask, all my crazy Google questions while I'm sitting here and incorporate those too. So just wanted to show you a little bit of what that looks like natively. And then now I just want to hand it over to Jerry so he can talk a little bit about licensing options for your business. If it sounds like something that you're like really sold, you're like, wow, I really don't want to deal with those Excel formulas anymore. I'll hand it over to Jerry to talk a little bit about licensing.
Yeah, thanks, Bree. That was awesome. That was a great little show and tell there. So again, just to clarify with everybody, there's essentially two different versions of Copilot. So if you have any version of 365 right now, like 365 your email or what have you, you have the web version of Copilot Chat. It's included. You just got to go to that URL that was displayed earlier and then chat away. But if you're really looking for that extra stretch and you wanted to dive into these applications or some of the stuff that Bree was showing you, like how it ties into your teams in SharePoint and everything else, that's where you would need a license. So the license is licensed per user per year, and those are paid annually. So it's $265 per user per year. So pretty straightforward. That's something you guys are interested in do, just go ahead and contact us, put a ticket in like you'd work with anybody else, and you can do one user at a time or what have you. So it doesn't have to be your entire organization. You want to do 1, 2, 5, 10, 12, whatever you want, or everybody. It's up to you guys.
And sometimes it's the best way to incorporate it is get let one person or team get a handle on it, and then figure out a rollout plan from there. It's helpful.
Yeah, so we have a couple offers out here for you guys today. So one, if you're an existing client, we're doing some concierge white glove getting Copilot training up for you guys. So it's obviously the spots are limited. We'd love to do it for everybody, but we really can't. But first come, first serve. We're going to show you guys how to throw your name in that hat. If we get a bunch all at the same time, we're going to do exactly that. Maybe we'll use Copilot to draw it for us, right, Bree? We can do that. Yeah.
Maybe we'll make a Copilot Bree that can teach it all.
We could. So if you're a new
get all our good jokes though.
If you're a new client to SynchroNet, we're willing to pick up your Copilot subscription for as many users as you want for the first year. So that's also a great deal for you all on that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're here to help you guys out. I mean, if you need help or you have questions, please don't hesitate. Don't sit there and struggle. Just reach out to us. And you don't have to go all in on AI tomorrow. You don't have to start doing it today. Start small and start with the right guidance. If you start really small and you're doing it the right way, it can grow into something much, much bigger, and you can utilize it to its full potential. But reach out to us. Our email's right there, getmore@synchronet.net. Reach out with any questions. If you'd like to book the free consultation or anything. If you want to take advantage of either of those offers that we just had on the screen, hit us up there. Or like Jerry talked about, that AI acceptable use policy. We do have a pretty good framework on that. So if anybody's looking for a AI framework policy for their entire organization, feel free to hit us at getmore@synchronet.net, and we'll get you guys whatever resources you would like.
Yeah, and that AI in your business is so broad. Copilot doesn't have to be what it is for you. Everyone's going to like their different things. So that's been a highlight of us kind of running these webinars. You were listening to you guys really wanted to learn about the different AI platforms. So we've had the chance to dive into a couple of those and just kind of show you what may or may not work for your team, just to kind of help narrow it down, because now as time goes on, there's just more and more, and we're which brings us to our next slide actually, as our giveaway that we typically do at the end. This came over a little weird, but I'll explain this in 1 second, but that kind of is getting us to this point where as we've done these webinars, we've hit a lot on AI, but still new AI things are happening, and it's all changing very fast. So we wanted to hear from you guys. So for our giveaway this round, what we wanted to do was have you guys fill out a survey, just basically asking for your feedback on what you want to hear from us next. We've really enjoyed doing these webinars once a quarter. We've enjoyed hearing a lot of the topics that we've covered is just from you guys, whether they're clients, prospects we've sat with in meetings, just telling us what they are wanting to learn about to help better their business. So we've enjoyed kind of diving in and doing that, but we want to hear from you guys where you want us to go next. Do you want us to stick with AI? Or are there certain topics you want us to stick to? Do you want us to hit a little bit more on cyber? That sort of thing. So this is a really quick, just like 1 or 2 question, 2-minute feedback survey here. And what we're going to do is, it does ask for your email, so it's not completely anonymous. So you got to be very nice to us because you have to put your email address in there. But you can either scan the QR code with your phone if you want to do it there. It's so quick that it's easy to do on your phone. Or we do have a link that you can type into your browser. It's just our normal website, synchronet.net, with the /webinar survey, and it'll take you to that same exact survey to fill out. And then what we're going to do is, at the end of the day today, or maybe first thing in the morning, we're going to pick a winner from there for our $100 Amazon gift card that we typically do for you guys.
Before we let everybody go, we have to ask if anybody has any immediate questions we can answer.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I was going to say, there is a Q&A at the top if there is any questions. I'm sure some of you may, or if it's more of a longer-winded question that you feel like you might need more detail on, you can always send to that getmore@synchronet.net email too. But there should be a Q&A box at the top of the screen there, over to the side, that you can type into if anyone has any questions that we can answer for you on the fly. Thank you for the reminder. All right. Oh, thanks, Tanner. He popped up our little chat for us. I'll give you guys just 1 more second to see if anyone has anything, in case if they're typing. But as we wait for that, just wanted to say thank you guys for your time today and hopping on with us. And
it means a lot for you guys to come here and participate and give us the ideas for more topics you all want to hear about. We thoroughly enjoy these, and we appreciate you guys letting us have some time in your day today.
Yes, definitely.
All right. If any pops anybody's head, hit us at getmore@synchronet.net, and just anytime, and we'll get your questions answered. But
thank you.
We appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. You have a great Thursday. We'll see ya.